Hello friends, I'm Rocky Outcrop, this is Bitcoin Technical Analysis. Let's just dive straight on into it, shall we? And check in with our pal Matty Greenspan that we have here on the charts. You'll recognise him with his glasses and his bow tie there, and his laser eyes, looking here at the lows of the day yesterday in there at 10,123, and we have actually seen the prices then come back up, and the day before yesterday, and we saw the prices during yesterday's filming right in here at the edge of this pitchfork lower warning line. Then what happened? Well, people will know that the prices then jumped up a bit. And where did they go to? Well, they went bang on to the next line of the pitchfork, the lower line here, as you can see in the background. And then subsequently, we've had this red candle here today. So what you could say in some senses is simply that we had a test of the 21 or the 55 exponential moving average, post cross over here. And then we've had the 55 act as resistance, and the prices were rejected from them, and the 21 all the way back down to the lows of the day at 10,551. I'm currently finding the prices in there at 10,607. Let's put the drawings back on though, so we can see what Matty Greenspan, and again, big shout out to Matty if you're watching along today. I know you subscribe to the channel and you're a good guy. So anyway, this is all done in good humor. That the next targets towards the top side that people would of course be saying at this point then of course will become 11,150 and 11,550 or so for that 11,500 golden pocket retrace coming in around about where that upper line is. Now that would be the upside targets to have. And that's a little bit premature almost to say. So let's just kind of take a little sort of look then at what we've really seen happen so far. And that is that we've had a low come in this area at the whole who was lucky enough to get it under 10k zone over here at the 236 Fibonacci retracement, which offered up support. And then what we had again was it came back down and revisited that 236 Fibonacci retracement, but had bodies closing higher, and we've had a high in between times. Now what you could say at this point here is that we've had a high and a lower high, and that is of course very positive for the bull case scenario. But from the negative case scenario, let's not be too distracted by what we see here, and remember that this is a high, this is a low, this is a high, this is a lower low, that was a lower high, this is a lower high so far really. And what we have at the minute is just the in-between stage right now. So what we really need to see happening is taking out the previous high, of course, in here at the 11,000 region, taking out this 50% Fibonacci retracement area, taking out the 50 simple moving average. We just hide all the drawings again. That's the 50 simple moving average up above our heads. This is, of course, by the way, the 24-hour time frame. And I'm looking here on the trading view, of course, using the Bit Mexico chart. Now, of course, this is all the spot prices have all got the same. So you can look across whatever particular chart you like, and we'll be looking at this 50 simple here as their next sort of target towards the top side. If you want to be able to do this at home, very much the easy way to find those targets. And of course, where we have this green line on the charts here, giving us our sort of little traffic light set up here for us. So we have a green line here, movements up above this zone, as we've already spoken about, would be very much for the bullish case scenario, and failure to move up and close up above this area on the good time frames really, as from now on, would be considered to be kind of negative from the bearish case scenario. Okay, so what we've actually done here so far since these highs that we had, just let me make sure that that's correctly positioned, since we highs that we had over there on the 19th of September. If we draw a Fibonacci retracement coming in from the lows on the 8th of September down there at 9,800 up to the highs here on the 19th of September at 11,188, then you can see that we've not managed to take out that 236 over there. We have come down, filled in the area for the golden pocket retrace. Moreover, we've actually achieved what we could say is close enough in terms of the Fibonacci's here with 786 retracement on that one, and come back up to this key inflection point here, which ties in quite nicely with the areas that we've been looking at here in terms of the pitchfork and everything else on the go. So the story hasn't evolved a great deal from what we've been talking about throughout this week. It will be interesting then today, since it's Friday, to look towards what could be happening with the prices over the coming weekend and of course going into the next week. Now, just starting off then with that process by checking out today's candle on the CME charts. Now, today's candle on Friday means that this is the sort of the determinant for whether or not we get a 24-hour gap on the charts. And just to suppose, as we look here, you can see that the 21 EMA is positioned above the 55 over here on the CME charts on the 24-hour time frame. And the chat that we had before about the over here, for instance, with the, well, it's clearer perhaps over here with the 21 EMA here, the yellow line, and the green 55 EMA here offering up resistance, whether it's at the 55 EMA and having cracked back down below the 21, but we kind of challenged that fairly thoroughly just there now. We see the same sort of thing here, but in reverse, in the sense that the 21 EMA is offering up that resistance towards the top side, and we have actually just cracked back down below the 55 over here currently at current prices. Now, with this wick having come all the way up towards our 382 over there, if we go back down towards the 236, that's quite negative. And of course, you know, this would just simply be an area for a potential higher low at this point. With this there, then you know, at this point here, looking at this and saying, well, if that's what happens, then what we have to consider is that over the next wee while, you know, we've got some potential for a symmetrical triangle on the go and around this sort of a zone. So we'll come back and check that out coming next week, and over the period of the weekend, then we can sort of bear in mind then that movements beyond these two zones here currently, you know, sort of below 10,600, above 10,900 is going to present us with a probable gap on the CME charts, which will probably then get filled within a short period of time thereafter, as we've seen so many times in the past with these gaps here on the 24-hour time frame. So that's what we're looking to. But of course, we do have the actual existing gaps here, which are big news ones, and that is, of course, down sub 10K area at 10,950. And we've also got a gap down here at 10,000, or at 9. What did I say? 10,950. So I meant to say 9,950. Slightly distracted there for a second. Then down here towards 9,675. Of course, that's the big daddy-o of a gap, and that's what we kind of have hanging above our heads here at the minute. Saying, do we want to see a bull trend really, from this point continue on the way towards the top side with this gap remaining on the charts, or would we prefer to see this getting filled out and then go on? And indeed, if it does get filled out and go beyond this gap towards the downside, are we actually looking at having been in a bearish trend since the 16th of August, as we actually have been talking about on the charts for quite a while, in the same way that we were talking about being in a bullish trend back there at the start of March whenever we came up towards the top side. It's the same sort of a scenario now. Of course, then when movements down past this line, well, people will be starting to say, oh, a bear trend has kicked off again. Of course, we know better, and it actually started over there, and we're in the middle here of a term in terms of flux, and being able to trade this just in terms of the short-term time frames and stuff like that in around these zones, with an eye to looking at the overall macro picture. And the macro picture really does come into play with closes down below that 960, 9,600 area, and closes really in this zone here with these two yellow lines kind of marking it out for us, and the fuzzy grey lines in the background marking it out for us in terms of, you know, moving up past our previous two highs on the go here, just this area. Are the previous two highs previous to our previous high, if you will, here with these two fuzzy grey lines that we're also looking at the minute. So if we can get movements up above 10,820, then I would be looking, I suppose, towards trying again here at this area and seeing if we get a 50% retrace, or even indeed go on to do a 618 golden pocket zone on this one. Now, what would that actually ultimately spell for us in terms of highs and lows and whatnot? Well, let me just get out the brush here for a second and kind of squiggle on here. If I squiggle over here first, actually, it might give you a bit of an idea. Squiggle, squiggle, squiggle down the way. Squiggle then down the way some more. And we can call this overall a downward trend, which does indeed have up and downy parts during it. What this would be squiggle, squiggle, squiggle here. And then, of course, potentially going down the way and being, a more bearish trend, of course, or indeed squiggle, squiggle, go up towards our golden pocket zone. And then, of course, down the way there afterwards. And what this zone would be in between would just be like this sort of a zone in between over here, or indeed various other zones in the past that we could look to and say, these are just simply retracements against the trend, So if we did have a movement towards the top side and take out this golden pocket zone and go no further, or indeed go no further than the 786 over here, then went down the way thereafter, then of course then you'd be looking at that and saying that actually the trend has always just been here the whole time. We've just witnessed it, and here's the trend here, starting up here, coming down the way, going to here, coming down the way, going to here, then coming down the way, and this would be your trend then thereafter. Let me just get this on here so it's all properly technical for everybody, so everybody can see it in the most technical way possible. So there we go. This is professional technical analysis for you. We call this the angel hair spaghetti method in terms of drawing out the things. Now, of course, when you take all this away, from this point here, I think it should be quite clear to see how this could be a downward trend, how it could operate regardless of highs and higher lows and whatnot in between times, with this big green lightning bolt that we have on the go. But if we take all of that off, then of course it gets a little bit more confusing and you might not have known what I was talking about otherwise. So just put that back on. You can see how that could be the case if we come in at that 618. Now I'm going to just remove all those brush marks from the chart because it's a mess, right? And I was really just doing that to demonstrate a point. But now that they're gone again, you can see, I suppose you can take away a lesson from this here with regards to how important that 618, 786 is in terms of the and how retracements against the trend work in terms of this tool here, the Fibonacci retracement tool, to take a look at retracements against the trend and how that would function in terms of this. Now, of course, if we want to do the same sort of scenario again, but we're going to talk about it from a bullish point of view, this is this sort of angel hair spaghetti technique here, right? So we've got this upward bit here, we've got this correction just here, suppose this upward bit here, right? This correction here, and then this upward bit here. Okay, and that's why this zone in here at the gap becomes quite important, really, all the way down to this sort of zone here. If you can see that as being a crucial zone in terms of how the psychology around all of this will work. So let me just get rid of those brush strokes and go back to visit Matty before sort of tuning out for today's episode. Really do want everybody to appreciate the value that actually exists here on the charts for us. And then you can see how Matty would be talking about it here. This is just a figurative Matty, a metaphorical Matty. Actually, this isn't to take the piss out of Matty at all. This is just purely because I thought the wee dude that I drew on the charts looked a bit like Matty Greenspan. So and then what would happen is that whenever the prices move down past these zones, these critical zones, if you remember just from 10 seconds ago there, so I'd say you would remember that horizontally type line there that was drawn in, then you would have what the chat would be people saying, oh, I've just discovered these new targets, and those new targets, what they would be that they've just discovered, are quite visible on the charts. If you take a Fibonacci retracement from the 13th of March up to August highs there, and you look towards where is that Fibonacci retracement now that I'm talking about this here as it happens? For a second, because I know I've already got it on the charts. Just wonder which one it's on for ease, so I don't have to go looking everywhere. Although here I am looking everywhere. Where are you? Well, whatever. Let's just do another one real quick then. The targets would be, of course, looking down here towards 9,500, 8,500, 7,500, and we have a whole bunch of sort of historical support and resistance in amongst those zones there. For instance, just as a quick sort of for instance for us in terms of this chart here, that's taken from this wick low, and this, of course, is drawn in on the Bybit, the Bybit chart. Where's my other ones though? Because this is a little bit frustrating for me. It's just a teenage wasteland. Teenage wasteland. Ba-da-dum-bam-bam. Okay, here, yeah, this is it. Thanks for your patience there. So having moved down then past the 10,420 area, you want to stay above 10,420 if you want to see the prices get high and blaze it towards the top side, and movements down past that area towards the lower targets are going to be this 9,165, 8,100, 9,150, 8,150, 7,150 down to 6,800 or so, just as a sort of simple thing. We'll stick Eat My Shorts in just there, and Don't Have a Cow Man just right on these two lines here for us. Okay, so that's going to do us for today's episode. 15 minutes in. I'm just going to give a quick couple of bits of news. One is of course, the Bitcoin giveaway that I'm running. Remember to enter a comment saying "Rocky, you rock." For that one, let me just go over here and give a quick shout out to my friend Yunji. I actually looked up on YouTube how to say Yunji earlier on, just so that I wouldn't do it wrongly. Let me just do it then here again. Is it here, paste? No, that's the wrong. Let me just get her name here. So I had no idea how you would say these set of characters because it's Korean and I have to admit I don't speak Korean. Oh no, what did I want to type in? How to say, right? Well, that's not useful to me at all. Let's do it on Google. How to say, there we go. There's the search I had earlier on. So, Yunji. Go on, say it.
정은지.
Unji. But I didn't like that video because it's too, it's telling you how to say somebody instead of saying it more naturally. So I went for this one.
은지.
Unji. So, hi, Unji, if you're watching along. I'll give you a shout out. In fact, what did I just go back there? I'll leave this on. I'll just give you a shout out on all the videos today for the crack, and I'll give a shout out to everybody else. Let me just check and see if there's any more people have joined up for the membership thing. Let's just see if there's any more of them. No, it's still the same chappies. Thank you so much to all of you guys. You know who you are, of course, but we're talking Fez, Mr. Erdal, Tony, Phil, and Ekram. You are all very, very good chappies indeed. And is there anybody else that wants a shout out? Let me just see for Bitcoin videos. Take that off. Bitcoin videos. Who's been watching Bitcoin? Let's scroll down and find some Bitcoin. Here's Bitcoin. Dion Pepper. Hey, Dion, thanks so much. You've entered that Bitcoin giveaway competition. Let's see if you win. Love your intro on YouTube. Thank you so much for that. That's really great. Let's scroll down and find some more comments from the Bitcoin videos. Bitcoin, here's this one with Matty Greenspan's picture yesterday. Andrew Castro, good stuff. Yeah, Bitcoin bouncing back. Late development thanks to the bullish divergence. Rocky provides the technical details. I did indeed. And of course, because of the critical levels that went above, hope I demonstrated that thoroughly for you in terms of course, this pitchfork that we had on the go here. And, this does make this job easy, doesn't it? But you think to yourself, oh, we could all do this Bitcoin technical analysis jazz on YouTube if only we all had a pitchfork. Rocky Outcrop has it easy over there. I'm sure that's what you're all thinking. Absolutely, it does indeed, doesn't it? Lol at that. What else do we have in terms of comments? Simon, any link analysis for today? I did actually do that as well. Thanks so much for your comment, Simon. Here we have Peter, Rocky, you rock. Cheers, Peter. You're always a good guy. And Pro Druid 06. So confusing. Just after this video, the price shot up to 10,660. My own analysis is perhaps too conservative because I didn't see a high chance of that. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, at the time, neither did I. I wasn't really saying that there was a high chance of it happening. But, when you're at resistance and kind of been floating around at it for a wee while, then, there is actually a high chance of it happening. I mean, it's just maybe I didn't make it super, super clear when I was talking about it. But I respected the fibs, and when it moved past the point on the pitchfork that it was always going to go over that was also going over the 236 and looking like Destiny had a lower high in store, or perhaps more probably just a lower high at some point, because like I've already explained, we could have a lower high all the way up to $11,926. I hope I put that into context. All right, okay, so the video now lasts for 19 minutes. That's a bit much. 5 minutes of cheerio at the end. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Catch you next time. By the way, subscribe to Rocky Outcrop. That's what we hope for. I hope that I've given you enough value here to encourage you to do that, because of course it is 100% quality technical analysis. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next episode.